The sound of pages turning means it's time for another episode from the Meredith Library podcast studio, bringing you the library's latest news, information, and fun.
Good afternoon, Anna.
Good afternoon, Matthew.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode number 17 of Check It Out.
Today, our topic is September events.
Yes, unique September events here at the Meredith Library. So what do we mean by that?
We mean that we have our normal monthly programs like our book clubs, Naughty Knitters, Genealogy, Computer Club. They're all at the same dates and times. If you have any questions about those, you can go to the Meredith Library website and the events calendar, or call us or come to the library if you have questions. But we're just going to be discussing specific special events that we have not put on before.
Yes, such as, let's get right into it. Number one.
Well, I guess technically number one, it's unique in that we're starting it back up again, which is the after school program that our teen librarian Liz does, where every Tuesday through Friday, 3:30 to 5, except for Fridays, it's 3:30 to 4:45. She puts on unique enrichment activities for kids between the ages of 10 and 18.
Yeah, so that's why, as you said, those would be unique because each day has some kind of a different theme or a different activity going on. So why don't we throw ourselves into the first few or some of them from that first week?
Right. So on Wednesday, September 4th, there is a welcome back party. On the 5th, which is a Thursday, she has her World Cultures event where she gets this shipment of foods from a specific country. It's a subscription box. And then all the kids kind of get to taste the food and rank it and discuss. And this month, the country is the United Kingdom. And then on Friday, we have our tried and true Jackbox games. And that is sort of these interactive video games. You get an iPad and you get to play these. It's sort of like a board game in a way a lot of the times, but they are technology based and you get to make silly jokes or draw pictures just depending on what little game. There's trivia. When you come frequently on Fridays, you become familiar with the different little fun games you can play. The next event that we have going on September 6th is one of our Crafternoon activities, Fall Canvas Button Trees.
Yes, and if people look on the website, meredithlibrary.org, look for that date, you can see an example of this. So basically, it is just like it sounds. Canvas is the background, and people are using multi-size, multicolored buttons to create the shape of a tree.
Sounds super crafty and fun, and throw little personal things that you make into your house, and just gives that special, unique stamp.
Absolutely. And those Crafternoons do have sign-ups with a limited seating rather. So people do need to go to the website and sign up for those.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to talk about Dental Mythbusters, Matthew?
Yes, I love that one. So there are so many myths out there about teeth in general, right? About oral health, about when should you brush your teeth? How soon after you eat should you brush your teeth? Tell everyone the one you mentioned earlier.
I have heard, and I would like to know if this is true, that especially when you go to bed at night, you shouldn't rinse out your mouth after you use toothpaste with fluoride in it because the fluoride can stay on your teeth and continue to work its special teeth magic. And if you just rinse it out, then now it's gone and done.
Okay, good question. And others such as, are cavities contagious? That's a good one. Let's see what else. Oh, does black charcoal actually whiten teeth? So there are so many things out there that may or may not be true, that either are old wives' tales, as they say, or something someone read on the internet somewhere, but you don't know what the source is.
Big charcoals trying to come in and break into the toothpaste industry.
Yeah. So, there's so many things, right? So we are inviting Dr. Paul Dubuque from Circle Dental here in Meredith to come in for an hour and discuss dental myths with people. And people, of course, can bring their own questions they've always wanted to ask a dentist.
And Matthew, how do you know him?
Well, Dr. Paul is actually my dentist.
What?
So the last time I had my regular dental appointment, when I was sitting there in the chair and he had finished, the dentist said, "Oh, do you have any other questions?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I do. Would you like to come to the Meredith Library and do a community outreach program talking about a dental topic?" That's how it started.
You know what you're so good at, Matthew, is like you find community outreach opportunities in your everyday errands.
I do.
You go to the bank, you go to the dentist, you go to the grocery store, and you're like, you know what?
I just create these opportunities for our library community wherever I happen to be.
Love it. Okay. And the other event you're very excited about is called Paying for College.
Yes. So part of our ongoing financial seminar education series, we have Matthew Rigotti of Point North Wealth Management in Salem. He comes all the way from Salem, New Hampshire to come to the Meredith Library to explain these financial concepts to our community here and make everything understandable and approachable.
That's awesome. And it's a lot of parents like big looming, question about paying for college. That's like the boogeyman of, having a teenager, basically. So I think that's a really great specific financial discussion to have parents and teens come to.
We should also mention, too, for that one, that it's not too early to start, no matter how old your children are. Because Mary Beth, one of our library employees here, is actually mentioned in the write-up for it because her son is going into 7th grade. And she was saying that she thinks about that all the time. So she was looking forward to it.
That's a really good point. I mean, you can start thinking about paying for college when you have like a 2-year-old sometimes. Like it's that, like I said, it's that big looming thing. So come to the Meredith Public Library, have your questions answered, have some of your anxieties eased, or at least concrete list of steps to go through.
Right, exactly. Get a way to make a plan for what you're going to do in the future for this important thing.
And the last event that's unique to this month is called Shakespeare After Dark.
I love that title.
I do too.
Do you know why?
Because it's at night?
No, why I love the title.
Oh, why?
Because I came up with it.
Oh, well, the Shakespeare group meets during the day, and not everyone that loves Shakespeare can attend. So this is the solution that you've concocted, right?
Yes. People have asked for something in the past to take place at night in reference to Shakespeare, because as you said, it's usually Wednesday afternoons at 1:30, and people who are working are not able to do that. So I said, well, we need to do something at night that people could come to. So what we came up with was this 2-night special event. And this one will require registration. Definitely encourage people to go to the website and sign up for it. So you make sure you get a spot. And we're assuming that we'll get some of the people from the daytime too, who love to come every week. They're without fail. There's anywhere from 12 to 20 people. So it's really popular. They love it. They have a great time with it. They laugh a lot. If you ever walk by the room or go through the room while the class is going on or the session is going on, there's a lot of lively activity and discussion and laughter.
No, because Shakespeare's like sassy and funny. Like that's something I feel like I learned when I did him in high school, especially Macbeth or whatever. I'm like, why is he making jokes right now? This is supposed to be a tragedy, but why is he a funny guy? Are we telling the public what we're doing at Shakespeare After Dark yet? Is that public knowledge?
It is. It's an introduction to Shakespearean sonnets. Just to give people an idea, a little contrast with the daytime one, they do one act of a Shakespearean play every week. So they go through a whole play in 5 weeks. For the 2-night event, we didn't quite have enough time to do a whole play because we didn't want it to be where people had to do homework to come to it, which I think when you hear Shakespeare, you think of school and homework.
Right.
So that's probably a really important concept to mention. So you can come to that first night without having done any reading ahead of time or any prep time or anything. Just come to it, and it will be an introduction to Shakespeare, talking about who he was, how he invented the form of the sonnet, and what kind of meanings we get from the sonnets, and they'll actually be reading sonnets in class.
Yeah, what do you know about iambic pentameter?
Exactly. Who remembers iambic pentameter? And I'm sure that will come up. However, if you don't remember that, don't worry. That's not a reason to scare yourself off by any means.
It just sounds fancy. I still don't really understand it, though. I know it has to do with, like, stressed and unstressed vowels, but I'm like, how do I know what an unstressed vowel is? Like, I'll ask the guy, because to this day, it's a question that haunts me.
Okay, you better find out from John Lynn, Shakespeare instructor.
The final bit of our episode today is our classic question of the day. And Matthew and I thought it would be fun to live, we have not discussed this off recording, try to guess what each other's favorite subject in school was when we were kids. So I think that I would want to say English, but I actually think your favorite was history.
That is not correct.
Oh, what was it?
English.
Oh, it was English?
Test-taking strategy. You should have gone with your first thought.
Well, what did you like about English class?
Oh, I like how it has rules. There is a right way to say it or not. But then also it can be very creative as well, like with writing. So you're using this very orderly framework, like proper grammar and proper spelling and all that kind of stuff. But you're using that to be creative. So you're really using both sides of your brain. It's like a whole brain activity. It sounds like that should be a new nonfiction book, right? Whole brain activity, using both sides of your brain in daily life.
Well, you use the form to better communicate your creativity, because if you are having two characters in a story have an argument, but you're not following the rules of dialogue, you can't even follow who's saying what. So you can't even get your message across unless you're using the grammar in a way that everyone can make sense of. So I get it. Which do you think was my favorite?
I think yours was English as well.
It was. But for the reason that I got the award for AP Literature when I was a senior without finishing a single book in the class, because I just love to run my mouth and I'm good at it. And I realized in college when I started taking like critical theory and philosophy classes that I really like critical theory and philosophy and like sociology and that stuff, but that all gets wrapped into English class in high school. But I would do this method where I would let all the kids, somebody else like hit the plot points that I didn't read. And then I would just start talking about theory and concepts. And then at the end of the day, my teacher would be like, Anna, you had really poignant thoughts.
You would take your cues from what everybody else was saying and go from there. Okay.
But do your homework, kids. I'm not saying don't do your homework. I would have had an even better time had I actually done the reading. There are books that I'm mad I didn't read, but I have time.
Let's
go back.
You can always go back and do it now.
All right. And that ends our episode for today.
We will look forward to talking to each other soon and giving out all this great information so people just know what's going on here at the Meredith Public Library. Sounds like we're at the end of another chapter.
Podcast music titled Daytime TV Theme by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0.
Podcast copyright 2024. Meredith Library Podcast Studio.